Okay. We created the project and create a list of items in our product backlog. As we talked, we need to, when you define the sprint goal, you need to analyze the sprint backlog. Sorry, when you define the sprint goal, you need to analyze the backlog, the product backlog, and select the user store, the item in the product backlog that's required to achieve the sprint goal. Okay. And the list of tasks or the list of user store, the list of items that you need to complete to achieve the goal of the sprint goal is the sprint backlog. Okay. As you see here in this picture, you have the product backlog and you have the sprint backlog. Okay. The sprint backlog is only the list of items to perform in the sprint. The product backlog is the list of items to perform during the project. So, but what defines what is inside, what's outside the sprint backlog is the sprint goal. The sprint goal is a short statement of what the work will be focused during the sprint. Okay, you can perform on other things in the sprint. However, the focus of the sprint follows the sprint goal. For example, examples of sprint goal. In the life sciences, support features necessary for population genetic studies. Database application. Make the application run on Excel 7 in addition to Oracle. Financial service. Support more technical indicators than company ABC with real-time stream data. Okay, they are example of the sprint goals. Okay, during the planning meeting, again, in the beginning of each sprint, you have a meeting that the name is sprint planning. During the sprint planning, you have two tasks. The first task is the prioritization of the sprint. Okay, you analyze the backlog and select the sprint goal. With the sprint goal, we start to planning the sprint. You decide how to acquire the sprint goal. In other words, you define the required tasks that you need to implement to acquire the sprint goal. Create the sprint backlog, the list of tasks, okay, from the product backlog, the items, user store. And estimate how many hours is required to accomplish the sprint backlog, okay? What is the input? The capacity of the team that you have, the product backlog, the business conditions, the current products, and the technology. For example, think that you have this user store that you need to accomplish. You select this user store to implement the sprint in the sprint, okay? In other words, this user store now is in the sprint backlog. You need to define the task that is required to accomplish this user store. For example, code the mid-tier, code the test, the user interface, write the test features, code the full class, and update the performance test. This example of test that you need to accomplish perform to accomplish this user store. Perceives check here. You need to define how many hours or estimate the workforce the effort that is required to accomplish test by test. It's one task that you need to do. In the sprint planning, the team select the items from the product backlog they can commit to complete. It's important, this word, commit to complete. All the people, all the team work to accomplish. It's a common error in the sprint, the Scrum, is in the beginning of the project is common, but you need to solve this problem during the sprint, is you say during the planning, you define more tasks to work than that is possible to work. For example, you define that you work in 3 user store. However, at the end of the sprint, you're working only in 1 user store. Okay, it's Very common in the beginning because you have the way to estimate is not deterministic. There is a little uncertainty in the beginning. You don't know how your friend, your team partner works. You don't know exactly the general idea of the project. However, after the second sprint, you need to decrease to zero. Okay, you need to decrease. You need to really make good estimation. To estimate a task in the agile, you don't use hours. Okay. Uh, the idea is to use more accurate estimatives, like you use story point. Why do you use story point? The story point is good because the way to estimate one task is like a recorder, sessions. Just check here. Okay. The way to calculate, to estimate the effort is comparative estimation. What it means? You select a task that you really know how many times you need how many times is required to accomplish the task. You select one. The others you compare. For example, you have a task that you know, oh, this task I know how many times I need, and you compare. Okay, this other. The way to compare is it's similar. With the same effort, what you think? Oh, it's the same. Okay. It's bigger. You need more than, it's bigger than this one? Yes. How many bigger? 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5th time. No, it's easiest. Okay, easiest, how many easiest it is? Oh, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. However, when you say, okay, it is 2 times hardest, it's very hard to define these things. It's the reason that you use a different scale. For example, use Fibonacci and others. Because when you compare, for example, things that you know, how many effort you need to build a house, and to build, to create or to develop a build, is a double? No, it's much more. How much more? 5 times. Yes, it's a good estimate. 13 times. Oh, it's good. It's easy to say that it's 5 times harder than to say it's double, it's 2 times harder. Because 2 times is close to the estimate, when you say, okay, it's 2 times harder, it's easy to understand the difference. And you don't know exactly. There is a lot of noise in this estimation. It's the idea to use a different scale that you have. For example, to hardest thing, you have a big scale. To easiest thing, you have a small scale. Okay? A common measure is a story point correspond an ideal man day. For example, 8 hours. Okay? It's depends because there are groups that you the main hours, the daily hours 4 hours. But the idea is one story point is a 1 man day hour. For example, 8 hour work. For example, 8 hour per day. Okay, and you use this amount of time to define. Okay, how many hours correspond more or less the 2 start point? 2 start point 16, 3 start point 24, and so on. Okay. So I need to check if I share the sound. Yes. Okay. This video is very good because it explains how to define story points. Okay, how to estimate story points. Please pay attention. It's very clear. It's the best explanation that you have all the techniques to estimate story points, but this technique is amazing. I believe it's easy. However, pay attention because it's a very useful information.
There is different ways when talking about estimating. We either use relative value or absolute value. Relative complexity is easier to judge than absolute one. Look at these two dogs. If I ask you which one weighs more than the other, pretty easy, right? But what about if I ask you to tell me how many pounds does each one weigh? This is hard, right? Relative estimation means that we judge how big or complex a task is with respect to other tasks. And one of the units of complexity that can be used in this kind of estimation is the story point. So a story point is a number that tells the team about the effort required to implement in a given user story. One of the important reasons to use the story point estimation instead of absolute estimation in hours or Mondays is that the absolute estimation has a kind of an emotional attachment to it. If you estimate a task to take 10 hours and it ended up taking you 30 hours, then what do you tell your manager? Why did you take more time than planned? This could be frustrating for people, as it could turn to a blaming game if we are not able to finish tasks within the time frame agreed on. Story point estimation removes this emotional attachment by removing the link that we can have towards time. As explained earlier, story points estimation takes into consideration the effort needed to accomplish a task. An estimate of the effort involved can be influenced by the amount of work to do, the risk and uncertainty, and the complexity. In terms of amount of work needed, consider the task of folding papers in two. The first task is to fold 10 papers, and the second task is about folding 100 papers. Although it's the same actions, and the second task is not more complex than the first one, but still, the second task requires more work and should be given more story points. It probably doesn't get 10 times more points, even though there are 10 times as many paper, but it should definitely have more story points. The amount of risk and uncertainty in a user story should affect the story point estimate given to it. If a team is asked to estimate a user story, and if what needs to be done is unclear, then that uncertainty should be reflected in the estimate. And if implementing a user story involves changing a particular piece of old code that has no automated tests in place, for example, that risk should be reflected in the estimate too. Last thing to be considered when estimating is the complexity. Complexity should also be considered when providing a story point estimate. Think back to the earlier example of folding 100 papers instead of 10. Imagine now that the task is to fold 100 paper and make airplanes with it. In this case, even though we are still folding 100 papers, but there is more complexity to it, and it should be reflected in the story point estimation. In most cases, a story point uses the Fibonacci sequence as a scale for sizing. Some teams will use t-shirt sizing as a measure. Story point estimation is typically performed during the product backlog refinement sessions, and the product backlog is evaluated by the team, who is responsible to turn the product backlog items to real customer value. The product owner does not contribute to the estimation, but he will have the responsibility to explain what the product backlog items is about. In order to estimate user stories, each team would have to find 1 or 2 baseline stories as a reference. These user stories don't need to be the smallest ones, but they should be ones that everyone within the team understands and can resonate with. Once defined, estimating all the other user stories should be done by comparing them to the reference user story. So the team will give the reference story a number from the Fibonacci sequence, then they will take the other user stories one by one and each time ask, does this user story require more effort than our reference story? If it's the case, they put it after that user story. Or they ask, will it be less effort than the reference story? And if it's the case, then they put it before. The team can then proceed and give story points to the other user stories. If it requires twice as much effort as the reference story, then we give it double amount of story points. If it's twice less, then we give it less. During the estimation session, it is very important to involve everyone in the team: developers, designers, testers. Each team member brings a different perspective on the product and the work required to deliver a user story. I hope this video gave you a good understanding of story points and why we use relative estimation instead of absolute estimation. Please leave us a comment and follow us for more content. Thank you.
Okay. Any question about the user store, guys? The user store, no, the story points. This activity here is you will create a sprint and define story points. I know that it's not possible to realize an estimation session because we don't have time. You need to spend more time. But the idea to today to now is only to understand how to save the information that you have in the after the story point sessions. Okay. To create a user store, it's not a lot. Okay, and to create the user store, here it's not here, but here you have the user store that you already created. Okay, in the sprint creation, you can create a sprint here. Okay, and to save information in sprint, before you move the task to the sprint area, you need to define the goal. Okay, you click here and add or delete the sprint. When you click add the sprint, you need to define the sprint name. You define how many weeks. In our case, all the time it's 2. You define the start and the end date. Okay. In our case, very easy because you have, for example, in our course, you have a specific amount of times that you have the project. You can put the 28 days, the week, and here sprint the place to put the sprint goal. You update it. Okay. After you do it, you need to analyze the project backlog. You define what is the goal. My goal is it. It's my goal. You need to analyze the project backlog. How you analyze? First, you select the group of the user story required to solve the goal sprint. Okay. Calculate its story points. One thing that is very important that you have after the 2-3 sprints, you start to know how many story points it's possible to work in a sprint. Okay, you have in the product backlog, you have the user store, and you already have the how many story points each user store has. When you start to analyze, for example, the guy defined, okay, I want to do the sprint. My goal, it is my goal in this sprint. And you analyze in the product backlog which user store is required. But when you analyze in the user store, you see that the sum of the all story points of the all user store is bigger than usually you work in a sprint. It means that the goal of the goal that PO provide is unrealistic. Okay, it's not possible to perform in one user store. If it happens, if it happens, you need to the PO needs to return the description of the goal and edit this goal and define a more realistic goal. Okay, so when you have the correct goal, you go to the product backlog, select the user store that you need to accomplish, and move this user store, okay, like that, to the sprint. Okay, how you do it is click and put here. Okay, and to start the sprint, you need to only to click here. But it's not all. For example, you think that you identify that you need, for example, this user store to accomplish the sprint goal. You move here. However, you need to create the tasks that is required to accomplish the user store. Okay, you can create the task in two ways. The first way, you click here and add child issue. And when you create add child issue, you create the task here, okay? Task 1, task 2. In things then, to accomplish this user store, you need to accomplish this task 1 and task 2, okay? It's one way. It's the best way. I really don't like, okay? I present here, but I really don't like this approach. The approach that I prefer is I show in my Jira. The approach thinks that okay, now you have things that you, oops, okay, things that you start a sprint, okay? You move the store to here, okay? I already defined the goal. I need to define the goal or something. 2 weeks. I define a date to start, things that Monday, and update, okay? And I have this use store. I need to create test. It don't I create the task here using it, because when I create the task here, what happens is you cannot see this task in the dashboard. It's hard to control. The best way is you click here and create task new, for example, new one. Okay, and here you click link issues. Okay, and you can put like relates to user store 1, and you link this task with this one. Okay, it's the way that I prefer to control this type of things. I will create another one, new task 2. Okay, and here is the same. I link. I can put blocks. I can put clone. I can put duplicate, but in my case, I put relate to the task 1. Okay. When you start the sprint, okay, you analyze the things. It needs the sprint, okay? And you click in its sprint, okay? Did you understand or not?
Yes.
Okay. I will ask to perform this test after I finish the dynamic of one daily meeting, okay? I believe it's much better than to do now, okay? During okay, we learning before about the things about the planning task, okay? The planning is what you did now. You define you analyze the PO, analyze the project backlog, define the sprint goal, okay? And when you define the sprint goal, the team needs to analyze the product backlog and select the user store that needs to be accomplished, that needs to be done to accomplish the sprint goal. Okay. The team needs to analyze and see the amount of story points is enough or is bigger, it's equal, is enough, or you need, in some case, the goal is, and you need to put another user store to complement the time, okay? And you analyze, well, okay, for during the sprint, my team can perform 100 story points. The challenge or the goal that the PO suggests, you need only 50 story points, okay? You need to include more 50 story points in another user store. Or another case, to accomplish this goal, I need the user store 1, 2, and the amount of story points is 100. It's exactly the same amount that I usually work in a sprint. Okay, you don't need to do nothing. But there are cases that you, for example, usually you working around 100 story points during the sprint. And the challenge or the goal that the PO provide, to accomplish it, you need to work in 120 story points. Okay, what it means? It means that you need to form or to decompose the goal. The PO needs to select a new challenge or a new goal. Okay, to be fit inside the one sprint. Okay, you select the user store, you create the required test to implement the user store. Everything is inside the sprint. Okay, everything is inside the form, in this form here. Okay, so, and you click start sprint. Okay, I'll just click here to understand what is. Okay, when you click start, you have this board. Okay, you click here board, you have this board here. Okay, in this board you have 3 situations: to do, things that you didn't start, in progress, and done. When you select, for example, a task to perform, you need to at least save who will work in the task. Okay, it's all, again, you need to have already done the story points. Okay, you need to select who you do, and you select. Okay, not you select, the guy said, okay, I can work on this task, and you move to in progress. Okay, you move to in progress. When you finalize this task, you move to done. Okay, it's what means this dashboard. The ideal situation at the end of the sprint, all the task is in done. Okay, but how is the dynamic, the daily dynamic? The daily dynamic is based on the daily scrum. The daily scrum is a meeting, okay, 15 minutes meeting daily, and stand up. All the team is stand. Why? To avoid to talk about the soccer, to avoid to talk about this child. It's quickly, okay? You only is not a problem solving. You didn't discuss, you don't discuss about this, how to solve the problem. It's a report meeting. Did you see here? Where's my pointer? Where's the pointer? Where's my pointer? Okay, my pointer here. Okay, you see, not start, in progress, and complete. It's the same, okay? But in here you use a dashboard, okay? Sorry, whiteboard. You can use a whiteboard. We use a tools because I don't it's not possible, it's not feasible to use this type of thing. Okay, but what is this meeting? During this meeting, you need to answer 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What you do today? And if there are anything in your way or anything that block your performance. Okay, it's not a start for the Scrum Master. You didn't talk to a Scrum Master. You talk to the team, because the other guys maybe has tasks that depend on you. Okay, depending on your task, and it's important to know what is the how you are you doing, what you do, and the problem that you pass. Okay, and after this meeting, when you finalize, it's a commitment. You have a commitment in front of your peers. When you say, okay, I did this thing yesterday, I will do this thing tomorrow or today, okay? You are commit what you do, okay? This video is another video, very good, and explain one daily meeting, okay? Pay attention is amazing because you have amazing situation. You have face-to-face guys and remote guys, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Ryoko. We're just getting started. I have you on speakerphone.
Oh, hello everybody.
Hey, Ryoko.
Hi, Ryoko.
Hi, Ryoko.
Okay, who wants to start?
I don't like talking in public, or at all, really.
Harold, please, the floor is yours.
Yesterday, I finished the source code for the recipe request voice interface, and I ran the unit test, so that's done. But these stand-ups are okay. You only have to answer 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what is your main impediment? Today, I am working on passing the request parameters to the recipe search code. It's structured. It's fast. It's painless. My main impediment is still my lack of knowledge of the speech recognition engine. Ryoko is our expert, and she's been a wonderful help, but with the time difference, it's just challenging.
Okay, that's very good, Harold. But we need to resolve that. Ryoko?
Hi.
Can you send me your schedule? I will look into getting travel approval.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thanks, Ryoko. Why don't you go next?
Okay, sure. Today I reviewed...
The daily stand-up is one of the team's most important rituals. In just 15 minutes, we see what everyone is up to. We update the iteration wall and see opportunities to help others remove blockers.
I said, you know, Bill in infrastructure. I said, Bill, it's not 1985 anymore.
Okay. The amazing thing in the daily meeting is a very, 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 very short meeting. Okay. You don't need to prepare. There is no PowerPoint, nothing. Only you say what you did, what I'm doing, and what is my block thing situation. Okay. Okay. Now you're doing the 2 tests. Okay. You create you select the test to move to the dashboard, to the sprint. Okay. You set the sprint, put the information about the goal. Okay, only pictorial things. The idea is to understand how to use the tool. Okay, move a task to the sprint, create 2 or 3 tasks related to the user store that you select to run the sprint, and start a sprint and check the dashboard. Okay, only check the dashboard. Okay, I will give you again. Stop here. Share. I'll give more 50 minutes. Yes, around 50 minutes, and to perform this task. And after you finish, you return to the main room. Okay. The room is open. Hi.
Hi, teacher. We have, bueno, cuando estaba checando esto y está un poco diferente el de usted.
No, it's different. I believe it's different because the language.
Ah, ok. But aquí no aparece
Yeah.
bueno, el backlog o eso. Bueno,
Yes,
aquí
tablero is the board.
Ujú.
There is no the backlog.
No.
Mm, give me a second to. Yes, back to the project.
Según yo, el
It's not
backlog sí.
código or it's not. Code is another thing, but you selected the Scrum. Am I correct?
¿De what?
When you select the project, you select Scrum. Am I correct?
I think yes.
Just check. I will check here. I can't see all the projects. Give me a second. I see here. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. I believe you didn't use the sprint. Oh no, I need to check here. Potato. No, it's not in this place. I don't know. It's not open in my. Give me a second. Okay. Yes, my computer is not opening the others. Only my cell phone. I will check the other things. Maybe I believe I will back to your project. I believe when you created the project, yes, I believe what happens is when you create the project, I don't know if you can change now, okay? But when you create the project, I share my screen, okay? To see one thing. Okay. In this, when you click here, create project, you have three options, okay? If you didn't select this one, you don't have the, if you select the Kanban, for example, Kanban does not have backlog, okay? You create the test directly in the board, okay? You don't have the black dashboard. I don't know if you can change. The problem is I don't know why I didn't in my computer. It's not appears there. I will log off and I log in again to see Give me a second. I believe you can change the type of project after you create it, but I'm not sure. Just a second. Just check which account I use.
I think I found how to change it.
Did you find? The problem is I don't know why I didn't. The it's not appear. It's not appear for me the other project. Only my cell phone appears. However, in the cell phone, let me check here.
Can I share with you screen?
Oh, see, yes. Just a moment. I need to stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it appears here the backlog.
Okay, perfect.
So I went here in configuración and then in funciones to like activate.
Yes.
backlog.
In my computer, in my cell phone, it's not a piece of this configuration. I don't know why. Yes. Now I believe you have other things that you can select. For example, reports and other things. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome. Another thing.
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, sir. I'm sorry. I got my lights cut out, so that's why I left the session. I'm going to go to my team.
to see the tools and try to understand the general idea of the tools, okay? The idea is not to analyze, to estimate things, just only to understand how to use the tool. So, now, okay, after you perform the day, okay, you until here, you're learning about the planning, you're learning about the daily meeting, but you have other ceremonies. The first one is the sprint review. Remember about the sprint review is the time that you have with the PO and the other visitors, like the customers, to present what you did, okay? What is important here? You don't use slides, you present the demo, okay? Because the customer don't want to see a class, you don't want to learn anything. They want to see the product that you develop, okay? Informally, use the Scrum Master with the team. Spend 2 hours to prepare, okay? Because sometimes you need to compile, to adjust, you need to make a warm up to see bugs and need to fix the bugs before the meeting, okay? But it's a very important time because it's the time that you, at the end of the session, the PO said, okay, I accept, or no, okay, I denied, or accept, but you need to fix this thing or need to improve this characteristic here, okay? Again, the sprint review, the word can participate, okay? The customer, other teams, everybody can participate, okay? And it's very welcome to the comments. For example, you can invite the PO, define, okay, talk with the CEO, the company CEO, and say, okay, come up with me to see what the guys are doing and receive the feedback. Different than the daily meeting. The daily meeting, other people can participate, can see the meeting, but only the team can talk. In the sprint review, everybody can talk, okay? Everybody can talk. In this sprint review, whole team need to be participating. You cannot, for example, if you need to travel, the sprint review need to be first. One thing that I didn't say about the daily meeting, the daily meeting happens every day in the same time. Every day, never changed, okay? To define the day, for example, when you start the project, you define a time, okay, the same time. You define a time where when the sprint, the daily meeting will happen. This time you didn't change now in any place. You follow this time all the time. The people adjust your schedule to start to be in the daily meeting. Another meeting after the daily meeting, after the sprint review, the sprint review you can spend, for example, 2 hours, 3 hours. There is no time. It depends. Okay. There are sprint review that is very quickly, very short. The PO see the demo presentation and say, oh, everything's good. I'm happy with the work. But there are cases that the PO said, oh, I like, but you need to fix this problem. I see the report, I didn't like the report. Okay, it's the time to receive feedbacks. So because this reason, you don't have a specific amount of time. It's not as, for example, like a daily meeting. The meeting is a 15 minutes meeting. It's like the plane. The plane, you don't have a specific amount of time to define. The one plane can have 1 hour, another 2 hours, another 30 minutes. It's like the review, okay? After the review, okay, or 1 day late, 1 day after, you have the retrospective. The retrospective has around 15 to 30 minutes. no more than it. And it happens after the sprint, okay? And before the next one. Again, all the team participate, the Scrum Master, the PO, the team, and few customers. This meeting is organized by the Scrum, okay? And this retrospective is not the time to want to kill people, but it's the time to reflect the problems and the things that happens correctly. What you need to discuss it, what you need to start doing, what you need to stop doing, and what you continue doing. Okay. One example, for example, you want to have less visitor. There are places that you have visitor every day. You need to stop to dating on freezing. Okay. You keep doing one per month a lunch meeting. Lunch meeting is a type of meeting that you are in the restaurant. It's more, it's a not time to relax, but it's a time to work, but it's a more relaxed work. Okay. There are some tippings to retrospective. The first one is plan ahead. It's a good idea to the Scrum Master before the meeting, start to think about the meeting. Okay. Maybe send an email to talk. Okay, what do you think that you need to talk in the retrospective? And the people provide some feedback about it. Get people engaged early. Things, for example, you need, you have a problem in the payment. Okay, it's a good idea to talk with the HR and use and go with the HR to explain the problems in the payment. Okay. I believe everybody will go to this meeting. Another thing is you have a guy that does not work well. For example, generates a lot of stress in the environment. It's a good idea the Scrum Master to start to talk before this guy, prepare this guy to the meeting. Okay, create a space or a virtual one or in the company. Again, it's a time to be. It's a fun time. I participate in meetings like you have meals, you have cooks, food. It's a very serious thing, but it's not means that it needs to be heavy. It's light. Okay. Track your action items. For example, if you define during this meeting that you start to realize one thing, for example, you before the daily work, you generate a session, yoga session, okay, before you start to work. Track it. And in the next retrospective, you check if you're doing what you promised to do, that you do, okay? Start with the previous actions. Start to talk, okay, what you define that you start doing, will do or not do? Or you said that you will do, however, you didn't start, okay? And have fun. It's again, it's a relaxed time. I know that the process is not, it's an easy process, but it's not so, there is things that is important that you need to understand, okay? I know about it. And what happens in our course, okay? Before the Semana E, you have the professors teaching theory things. Okay, in the next session, you talk about start the IoT. Okay, you finish the project manage and start the specific about IoT. After the Semana E, we have 2 days that I teach you, that I will teach to you. Okay, one day that I teach two sessions, two times, okay, 2 hours, and the other one's like today. Okay, 4 hours. And the 2 hours is the time that we working in the retro project. Is the time to realize the retrospective, the review. Okay, then I can talk with you and adjust the process. Okay, it's the time we will really apply the process during the development of our project. Okay, and my plan to you is in the first week we have, for example, we realize a daily meeting with all the groups, individual. Okay, I have 2 hours. I stay 30 minutes with one group, 30 minutes with the other group, 30 minutes with another. And in this time, I will have the position like I will realize the planning after we realize the daily, and we support in the how to apply this process in the real world. It's easy, but there is some problems that you need to have experience to have. Okay. I have one more video that is amazing because in the first video you have only about the daily meeting. Okay, only the daily meeting. But this new video that we will present now will have the complete process. You start with the planning, you have the daily, and you have the review. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ravi, the Chief Functional Architect of Application Lifecycle Management. We are now at HP Software R&D site where we develop our products. In this short movie, I would like to share with you our Agile methodology as part of our development process for quality-centered products. Today, it's actually a very good opportunity to do it as we are starting a new iteration planning process.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. What's up?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Did you have a chance to review the backlog item for the meeting?
I think we need to do some adjustments.
Okay, why is that?
There is the upgrade verification, which I think we need to push to this sprint and not later on.
And do you really think that that's a critical item, that we need to give it a higher priority than what we have right now?
That's one of the most important things for our customers. It will become riskier later on.
Did you have a chance already to discuss it with the rest of the team?
Not yet.
Okay, so let's go to the meeting. I think we are already running late. So I guess adding this one will require some customer validation. Do you really think that we can afford it at this point?
I think it's critical. We can talk to the QA cost team to see if they can help us.
Okay, so let's start to discuss it as part of this meeting and we'll see what are the right adjustments that we should make. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Ravi. Good morning, Noi. Let's start with the sprint planning. You can see on the screen the current backlog of the sprint. Lior, can you say something about our quality?
Sure. Like we all said in the retrospective, the quality is not good enough. So we definitely need to invest more time in our estimates to reflect more testing.
And about current backlog list, do you all agree about the content?
Actually, there is one item from future sprints that I think we should move to this sprint about the upgrade verification. I think we should do it in this sprint as it will become much more riskier in future sprints rather than do it now.
But no, an item that involves upgrade will require a lot of development effort and is very risky. And as we already have too many items for this iteration, I don't see how we can do that.
I agree, but I think we can look at the backlog items and see what we can push on to the next sprints that has low priority.
Rev, you know very well the content. Can you suggest something to remove?
Yes, application installer is on a lower priority, so I think we can push it ahead to the next sprint if you all agree on that.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, I will update the backlog.
Leo, just one more question. Do you really think we will have our customers available for validation within this sprint?
Actually, we have a great opportunity because some of them are visiting us during the next sprint. So we can leverage them to help us with the testing.
Okay, makes sense.
So I think we all agree. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Let's go for a walk.
Okay, so I started testing the edit schema XML yesterday, and it passed. So I'm gonna move it to done, and today I'm gonna take this defect and start testing it.
Okay. I'm currently working on repository mechanism, and I hope it will be finished today for QA testing.
Well, I started working on the upgrade, but I'm afraid it's going to take much more time than we thought because it's a very risky area and every code change requires a lot of testing.
Is there any assistance you can get in order to proceed quickly?
Setting the environments for testing the upgrade is taking a lot of time, so that can be a great help.
So tomorrow I have a status meeting. I will raise this issue and see if we can get any assistance.
Okay.
I will update afterward.
All right, let me know if you need any help. Till then.
Great.
So as you can see on the board, the burn down shows there is a gap between the plan and the progress. Beside this gap, there is a problem of content that is yet not reflected in our backlog. Together, we can see here a problem and a risk on our delivery date of the project.
So we need to do the right adjustment in order to meet the timeline, but we need to make sure that the upgrade validation process that we've agreed on at the beginning of the iteration will happen as part of this sprint.
Now, is there any option QA will assist in order to shorten the development time around this area?
I guess that we can assist with deploying whatever environment needed in order to get the cycle ready, get the cycle running as soon as possible.
At least at my end, I think that it will be quite helpful if we can deliver for you guys some unofficial piece of code and to get feedback, and that will be helpful as well.
Yeah, sure. We'll be more than happy to start performance testing on an unofficial build. It will enable us to give a faster response and will not be surprised.
That will be great. Faster response will also enable dev to fix issues earlier and with lower cost. Let's follow up on this and see the progress, and hopefully we get closer to the plan and solve this gap problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you can see, we pay a lot of attention to our planning process. The fact that we use Quality Center in order to manage and track the iteration help us to make sure that all the relevant stakeholders will be synced along the process. Eventually, that helps us to ensure that we deliver the right content on the right time to our customers. Now you will need to excuse me, there's another sprint that needs to start.
Okay, in this video, you have the opportunity to check the general process. The last meeting, it's not a real review meeting. It's like a status meeting. There are specific type of project that is so big when you didn't have meetings. You have the review. However, you have a status meeting with only the project manager and the program manager. Okay. But it's the general idea. You can see the planning, how it works. You can see part of the daily meeting, and you see the end of that. So I would like to ask any question, guys. Any questions? Okay. I prepare a new exercise to you, okay? And if you go in modules, you have here gestão de projetos, and you have here what you do in this task. I need to prepare. Okay, you are working in the user store. Okay. What I want to do is you go to the Jira, create the project, create the user store. Okay, the user store that you work in the other lab. You generate the report, the lab report, but you insert in the Jira this user store. Okay, you create the product backlog in the Jira. And you create all of the sprints that you have until the end of the course, starting in the first week after the Semana. Okay? And in the product backlog, you estimate how many story points each user store has. Okay? You need to estimate the story points. How I will evaluate these things? You have 50 minutes in the next session, in the beginning of the next session, to present the Jira and your work. I don't want to see, give me a second, just want to do one thing. I will send this email to you, okay? I didn't send it yet because I didn't have class yet. Okay. What I want to watch, you don't prepare PowerPoint, okay? You don't prepare slides. You show in the tools and talk with me. It's like a meeting, okay? I want to see the product backlog, okay? The list of the product backlog, okay? How they use the store in the product backlog is the thing that I would like to see. Given the course calendar after the Semana E, I would like to see all sprints that you have until the end of the course. The user store needs to have the story points, and I want to watch and to listen how you calculate it, the challenge that you have, the process that you use to calculate the user store, okay? Again, you have 50 minutes, okay? You present for us, okay? For example, in the beginning of the next session, the first group will present, the next one, and so on, okay? Again, you don't need to prepare a PowerPoint. You only you open the Jira and explain the things using the Jira, okay? I would like to remember here in the specific session about that we teach today, you have all the videos, okay? How to estimate story points, the video about the daily meeting, and the video about the last one, okay? If you want to revise. Any questions about the test, guys?
No, teacher.
No? Okay. Again, it's an oral test, okay? It's not, I ask the things and you answer and I provide a grade to you, okay? Remember that you need to finalize to about the documents and all the requirements, okay? Don't miss this task, okay? Any question about anything? No?
No.
Okay, guys. Again, we will have the opportunity to apply what you're learning about the project, okay? After the Semana E. After the Semana E, all the professors will support you to develop the Rato project, okay? So if you don't have any questions, thank you very much for your time, and I see you again next week, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.